If you want me to, I won't.
Yes, you will.
Today on How It's Made, how I created this into this. Well, yay, well. Well, first started like this. Tried sculpting Paul by hand. After some revisions, it was starting to get a little bit better. Not by a lot, but by a little bit. I put in the hair from the Beatles Rock Band game and the eyebrows. Like, okay, we're getting somewhere. I did the hands by hand, sculpted them. And then I put in the Sgt. Pepper's hair with the mustache. And like, okay, we're getting somewhere, sort of. It's a little weird from the side. I sculpted the hair again myself by copying it, and like, it looked okay, decent. And then I decided to continue with the rest of the body. Looked pretty cool. And then you turn up like this. And this was something on the face, so I redid it again. And I messed up. I messed up a lot. So then I got an add-on, which helped with this, sculpting faces. So I had a bunch of pictures, and then it came out like this. And then I put in the beard and the hair from the game again to see if it looks like Paul. You can see later on how I did this process. But I finally got something that looks pretty decent. So I grafted it into the body, and I started doing hair again, and the mustache and everything. It started to make it a little bit better. The hair took me a while to groom. I just could not get it right for a while. And little by little, I got something. And I got it up here where I was like, oh, you know what? It goes, it gets. It's what it is. I'm pretty happy. And then I started doing little test renders, and I thought, yeah, it's not shooting out better than I thought. I'm shooting pretty good. I finally got it. It's about goddamn time. And after that, I started to go with the tassels, which is a pain in the ass. But I want to make them move by themselves, interact with the world. But I guess couldn't get it to look right. It was just too many things I was going to interact with. It kept on going everywhere. A lot of research and development I went into this, trying to get it right to interact with things. And I sort of got it at one point. You can see here I got with the tassels and the cord that it actually hits his chest and stays there. And it actually moves and looks pretty decent. But in the end, I ended up not going with it because, you see, they interact with each other. They mesh into each other. But I got this, though. I'm finally able to get this. Yeah, I ended up not doing the tassels anymore, and I just started to do it by hand because it wasn't going to turn out the way I wanted to do. But I ended up doing this too for fun, testing the facial ring and all that. Then I went to John, super easy. He looks like I probably heard that was not by design; it was by accident. But once I started putting the hairs and the accessories from the game, I started to see it come to life. I had to do a couple of iterations of him and Paul, but once I started putting in more features, like, okay, yeah, this is looking like him. I had to fix, the chin, the jawline, and the more prominent features of him. Small eyes, the nose, small lips, things like that. Once I started refining it a little bit more, I was finally able to get to where I wanted to. This is another test. I just couldn't get the hair right for a while, and then I figured it out. The metals were very easy. I just put a picture and modeled over it. George came in super easy and made color his hair real quick so you can recognize him. Again, once I put in the features in, they started to come out more. George was very, very easy. Put in the hat to make it look like George, and yeah, that's him. Ringo was super easy. I only had to do him once. From the get-go, he was super easy. Gave him his hat as well. And I was like, yeah, Ringo's perfect. I didn't have to do anything else. It was just from the start of the bat. Perfect. I did not have to make any changes with it. Super easy. And then I put the Fab Four there. They're all modeled up, dolled up, everything. Some test pictures there. And once I did that, I moved over and did the bodies. This is a close-up of George. George and Paul were kind of similar because they have one medal. Same thing with fucking John and Ringo. They all have the same medal. So once I did their bodies, once I did Paul, everyone else is easy. Once I did John, Ringo was easy. George was difficult because the laces on his suit, I had to do by hand. I had to curate them from different pictures and kind of mesh them together. Same thing with Ringo. Paul and John's were easier to model, but I had to do a little more effort with George. Right, it was super easy once I did that.
I'm a fabulous, fabulous vegetarian.
And then you can see me here doing the models for everyone. So what I did here was I got the pictures that I took from everyone, and I had to delight it, which was kind of put an even flat lighting on everyone, and then separate them from the background and create a transparent image, which would create a transparent image. And that's what I'm doing here. And it took me a while. It was very tedious going through all the importing of photos. They're big photos, so they're kind of heavy, so it took a while. So I had to import those. Then I had to mask out the background after I delighted everything. So it took a bit. I made a script to kind of automate the importing process. I found a script that would delight for me easier, so I imported that along with importing the images. So everything was kind of streamlined and a lot easier. Luckily, Photoshop had the ability to just mask out the background and leave the subject in. But I still, like you see there, I still had to erase some things in the background manually. It was very tedious, very annoying. But this was a lot easier than to do with the Beatles because I was able to take these pictures my way and, put you guys in a swivel and take pictures that way. With the Beatles, I had to go through like a specific year and go through a bunch of photos to find them at different angles. So it was a little difficult, but I was able to actually get through it somehow. And still, the process was just as tedious. But doing it this way with you guys was very easy. And then you can see me once I finish here, how I made the model in 3D. Again, with the same software that I used, the Keen tools helped out a lot. If it wasn't for that tool, I would probably still be at this stage here, taking forever. But it helped me a lot. A lot. And then I was still somewhere editing here. And this was an afterthought. When I was halfway through it, I thought, oh, maybe I should record it and show the people. They'd probably like this. So I skipped out a lot of people. Sorry. But you're going to see in a few moments how I put these people in 3D once I finish with this part here. The whole thing starts with just a base head. And then I have to, we're talking about something in the background. I don't know what we're talking about. I had to import all the photos in. And then I would grab points on that mesh head and put it into different areas. I call what are called landmarks. I think I call them landmarks on the face, which would like just prominent features, and I'll just kind of drag them around and drag those points of the mesh to those features and align them. You see what I'm doing out here. Once I got it all aligned, I am left with the face. And luckily, this program also makes the textures for me, so I don't have to do them by hand. It just projects the pictures onto the 3D object, and it takes care of that. Like I didn't have to do much. And since these are background characters, I didn't have to put too much effort on the detail on the hairs. Kind of see it for a split second how it looked like. But this was super easy. Like this program made this part a lot easier, and it was kind of fun making them.
What are you doing? It's murder. I can't do it. Can't keep it up. Just go.
Now doing the stage, I referenced this image from a movie that we loved, one of our favorite movies of all time, Beau's Afraid. And I wanted to reference the stage because it's a cool scene and I like how the stage looked. And I thought it'd be cool to reference that in this video. So I got a screenshot from the movie and then I started to make it from scratch. And it starts with this little platform here. I started to block in the pieces little by little, just kind of get an idea of how it might look. It wasn't going to be a 1-to-1 exactly, but it was going to be at least somewhat similar to kind of get the silhouette of the stage. It kind of looked like it already, in my opinion, at this point. Then I just put a catwalk, which I removed at the end. And there in the front, I put in a scaffolding there to make it look more like a stage. And then I put the arrows referencing the Ed Sullivan show. I thought it'd be cool just to decorate the walls there so it would look so plain. I put in those speakers there, which I took out at the end because those speakers, they didn't have those kind of speakers when they were playing live. Put in a platform for Ringo as well. And then put another platform in the front there, which originally was going to have Ringo sing there after when Simpson was sing. But I took it out in the end. Here's the environment. Nothing crazy going on. I put in some stand-ins, the microphone just to see how it looked like, to test with the lighting and all that. Then I put in these scaffoldings, which I ended up taking out in the end because I thought it looked too much like a rock concert. Having a rock concert didn't really suit the vibe, I feel, so I just removed it. And then I put in the background, which is the yellow sky, which is a reference to one of my favorite animes, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4. And I thought a yellow sky would be perfect for this because they have a yellow sky there. I thought it'd be good for good sky. I put in the panels. These wooden panels are made from a previous project of mine where I did a castle and village, and I was able to import it here, and it worked pretty okay. Put in some lighting, putting some textures, and everything, getting an idea of how it might look. Getting different angles, putting the borders around, putting the arrows with their textures, just to see how it's going to look like. I added the sky black with some shading to see how it's going to look like. I did a lake, which doesn't show up at all in the video, but I thought it would look cool. You can barely even see it here, but I'm like, it's kind of like quote unquote scouting locations to see how it's going to shoot like. This is the area as a whole. This is how it looks like. This is the whole map. We got the mountains in the background. That ring is some more mountains and hills. The little circle around it is a sky. Originally, it's a sky box, a sky sphere. I ended up picking that out in the end, but that's how it looks like from an outside perspective. So, like a boundary break kind of thing. And you can see there, I put little fog planes, little flat planes there to represent the fog. And then I added the string lights and some poles. I had the spotlights. I had the textures to the arrows. I added the amps and pianos and microphones from the Beatles Rock Band game because I thought it'd be cool. Here's another shot, an aerial shot, trying to get an idea of what shots I can take or shots I can make. Some more previews of how the environment's going to look like. Some more close-ups with the lights in, the string lights. We did a night scene to see how the lights are going to work, how good they're going to be. Some more different angles with different lighting. I tried different exposures, different contrasts. I tried to see how the background, the mountains and the hills are going to look like. Putting the fog planes to give it a little bit of distance, and they look pretty decent, I think. This is my first time doing all of this. I'm new, leave me alone. But this is more aerial shots of the place. I decided to put arrows on its own stands. More preview shots. I put in the grass. I put a little teal grass, just like in the area, to see how it's going to look. Put in the flowers, and I got the flowers from when they did All You Need Is Love. Ringo was surrounded by flowers, so I thought it'd be cool to have that. Here's the lake, which nobody gets to see. I put in some trees. I put in the seating. Put in the umbrellas, which again I replaced the trees in the end with flowers. Put in a bunch of sunflowers there in the background for an obvious reference. Changed the lighting. I changed the color some more. Here's another angle which I wanted to see how it's going to look like from this point of view. I added some more colors. I changed some more colors. Upped the exposure. I lowered the exposure, increased the contrast, lowered the contrast, just to see how it's going to look. Because this is going to be very expensive. I just know it, and I was right. It was very expensive. I increased the color of the grass and everything, more teal. It looked pretty good. More environment shots. I guess to see what they would see. What everyone's going to see. Put some confetti there. Put the balloons, which I ended up removing. More close-up angles to see what's the best shot for me. The aerial shot, the preview. Also, and this is a little bit more of the sky and the stage. And another aerial shot with the lake, which doesn't show up in the film again. And this is Sergio, locked in containment, trying to get out. I don't know if you can tell, but that's him.
Keep that one. Mark it fab.
Right, so this is my palm model. It's a little bit of a preview of how it looked like. I got his metal there. I got his trims, got those patches. I got his back trims as well. I got his trims there. I got his badge there, which I didn't know had a name. You can see his base. I got a little bit of grunge, a little bit of use there, a little bit of dirt, a little bit of smudges. I don't know if you can tell around the body, the light smudges. You got the frets, the fretboard. I got the logo. Everything was done by hand. This is the first model I made. The base, everything was made by hand. Textured it by hand, painted, colored, all that stuff was all done by me by hand with some references. I got his shoes down, I got his J's, got the trim there, I got his little spats there as well. And the pom poms there, got his face. You notice he's the only one with those eyelashes in the bottom too. I thought they make him look a little more feminine, so it worked, in my opinion. Look a little uncanny, but that's hardly the point. There's a medal there that I modeled. I just got the picture of the MBE award and modeled over it. Ignore that. I even got these buttons too. I just made a button and I just plastered the image on top of it. But this website is a godsend. If it wasn't for this lady, I would not have a video. Like I would not have anything. She goes in such detail and such depth. She gave me all the info I needed. What was called what, how it was built, where the seams are, where to find the things to buy. Like you could buy the medals. Like she gave me info on the shoes there. You can buy the medals, buy the buttons, gave me the links of everything, and gave me the name and pictures of it. So I was able to find out what was what. And she gave me an idea for how to make the cords and everything. So I'm like, oh my God, this lady's amazing. She's a godsend. Look, there's pictures for all the medals and the patches for everyone. Like, I'm serious. If it wasn't for this lady, I would not be here. I would not have this video done. Like, I didn't know that that was a badge. Like in the Beatles Rock Band game, I had it as a reference at first, and I saw like, wait a second, they didn't really have a bell in his chest. Paul didn't have a bell in his chest. The cords weren't done this way. And I found out, like, yeah, they had to optimize it, obviously, so they could go this detailed. But when I looked up, what was this called? I stumbled upon this lady's website, and she had everything I needed. Oh my God. It was so amazing. This lady, if you're watching my video or watching this, Maggie, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Anyway, back to my thing. But yeah, I was able to, don't get scared. This is the wireframe. I know it looks heavy. I know it looks completely unoptimized, but there's a reason for this. When I was optimized to subdivide and everything, but for some reason, when I was making the textures, there's on the seam, it was really stretched for some reason. I don't know why. I can't remember why. But you can barely tell. I don't think it's here. Or you can kind of tell there, like it's a little bit stretched. And I just couldn't figure out why I was doing that. So I had to apply his subdivision modifier, which essentially in layman's terms adds more detail, adds more faces, but it makes it this, too many faces. That was the only way I was able to get the textures to look right. I don't know what happened. I don't know why that happened. But it's the only way I could figure it out at the time. And you can see with the traces, the laces also, a lot of faces, but there's a lot of bumps and curvatures on his body. So that I needed to put those faces for the detail. And I just didn't have the time or the energy or effort to go through it and manually subdivide it again. But you can see here, I had to make more modifications to add more faces to correctly deform the laces on the fold and on the wrinkles on his body and everything. It was the only way I could do it. I have since learned, obviously, but like you see, it's all separate pieces, all separated on purpose because I was kind of nervous making this. It has a lot of detail. The chords, even more detail. Again, it's not optimized. I know it's my first time. I've never done this before. I try my best, but see the hands, they're retopologized. So are his legs, so are his shoes. They're all retopologized. It's just the body and the trims that are just dense. I just couldn't figure a way in the short amount of time I had and with my limited knowledge to make them more optimized. But that's my excuse. It's my first day. But in the end, it worked out. Oh my God, look at that, bro. Oh my God, don't look at that, bro. Oh my gosh. But yeah, the trims are done by hand. I modeled Paul's and John's. I modeled them, and then I don't know how to explain this in a simple way. I modeled them, and I put them in the picture, and I got some details, the height and the normals and the metallic and the roughness and all of that. I put in the image, and I was able to fake the 3D effect. So I was able to put that on his chest, put it on his arm, put it on his shoulders, and put it everywhere. And that's how I did everyone else's trims as well. Same exact way. You can see like it's all no, that's all together. But everything was I molded the trim and then I put it on an image plane and I was able to shrink wrap it over his body. And it turned out pretty good. I think it turned out pretty nice. A little bit uncanny, his face, but again, I'm learning. I'm a little guy. I'm learning. But I think it came out pretty good. I liked it. It was like my first guy I made. Pretty cool. And then for John, he was posed for some reason, and now he's not. I have no idea what happened. I have no idea why his pose is gone and with the strings. So that Buffon Casino is my favorite guitar ever. and it's the last guitar I made, but I had a lot of fun making it. It looked up, came out beautiful. Kind of see the smudges and the scratches on the guitar, but I had a lot of fun making it. I really loved it. I just love it so much. I actually have a used Epiphone Casino now. You can see like some more textures and details on the logo of an Epiphone guitar there. I had a lot of fun making that. You can see his patches there again, courtesy from Maggie from that Customer's Guide website. For some reason, his flowers are through his shirt. I don't know what happened. Um, but I had a lot of fun making that guitar. Let's fix this real quick. There we go. Those flowers I got from an add-on on Botanique. If it wasn't for them, I mean, they carried on a lot. I'm a lot. Thanks to them for helping me out with this. You can see again with John, I have the fake 3D-ness. These are like flat planes, but I faked the 3D on them so they look like 3D. He has a scarf there too. The hair was kind of hard to make. The glasses I got from a free thing. There's this cord there on his legs. The buttons there again as well. I got his medals that are frozen in time for some reason. And let's see what else. Oh, you can kind of see there's that stretching I was telling you about that I couldn't fix. In the video, they don't show up, so that's great. But they show up here for some reason. And you see his shoes. According to Maggie's website, in some pictures, you can barely see his shoes, but like in exhibits and stuff, he has kind of those green shoes. And something that only he and George has is this thing in the cuffs. You're going to see in a few seconds. Oh, shit. You can see like they have these cuff links, these cuff things. Only he and George have it, and I had to model these separately and model them in a way so they interact with his hand. Special shout out and thanks to AutoRig Pro for having that add-on updated while I was making this. Yeah, his thing is acid green. According to Maggie, it's acid green, and the pictures that come out yellow, but they're actually acid green. He and John's also special in that frill there in the bottom of the skirt. He has that on his arms as well. But yeah, the John's thing, it looks acid green, but then in the photos they're like kind of yellowish. So I went for acid green in the video. They did turn out yellowish kind of, so it kind of worked in my favor. Kind of liked how it looked in the end. But John was a lot of fun to make. Once I made John, Ringo was easy because they have the same medals and all that. Once I made Paul, George was easy because they only have one medal. Yeah, you can see the back trims. There's a little bald spot up there. Don't tell them that. Don't let them see. Yeah, John was a lot of fun to make. Kind of easy. Not the easiest one, but not the most hardest one either. He's like right in the middle. But now off to George. Now here's George with his Fender Esquire. Oh shit, where'd he go? Okay, I forgot. For some reason, even though I made everyone the same, George runs very slow. Like he lags my computer a lot. I have no idea why. I don't know why. I don't know how. He has the same texture, same everything, but he makes everything run slow. So I'm gonna try to do my best here with this Fender Esquire. You can see a little bit more of the grunge and the smudges and scratches. I chose for him to have the Fender Esquire because that's what Paul uses, and that's what the guitar you hear the most for all the solos and stuff. So I decided to have George play that rather than the Gibson one, and I kept John with his Epiphone Casino because he loves his Epiphone Casino, and it's used in a song. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll let him have that. Whoa. But yeah, the Esquire was pretty easy to make. You can see there a little more detail, easier to see. There you go. You see the Esquire logo up there. Again, the cuff things there as well. His lace is there. This one here in his arm, I was able to model easily. But it was so hard to do those loops and everything. Like, oh my God. Next time I'm just going to make it an image rather than making it in 3D. Very difficult, very tedious, but I was able to do it. But same thing with his hat lace and his chest laces were pictures that I kind of meshed together, different textures and different bumps and all that stuff to make those laces. I had to make them custom. And same thing with that box. The Customer's Guide website did not have any idea what this box was called or what it was made of or whatever. So I just made a cube and I put a paper texture on it and made the procedural texture, the little swirls. I made them up procedurally. Came out pretty decent. Um, he, George, John, and Reno have scarves, so they don't have scars for some reason. So they didn't come up too difficult. Those feathers were just pictures, transparent pictures I made, and they came out pretty decent. I gave him red shoes, opposite colors of Paul shoes, look like color shoes. According to the customer's guide, this is what he had in my truster. George's skirt was a little bit different with those little waves, so I had to kind of like modify it little by little. Let's see what else. The color, his blood orange. Customer's guide said it was blood orange. They're not too orange, not too red. So I kind of went in between, and the video turned out okay, I think. It looked pretty decent. So I went with the blood orange rather than a red or an orange as other people have it. Turned out pretty good. George wasn't that hard to make at all. The only difficult part was the skirt, the cufflinks, and the laces. And once I got the laces done, it was pretty much smooth sailing. And here's Ringo. So Ringo, I had a blast making. And this is a drum set. Again, I had him posing, but he's not posing anymore. And you can see like his legs are so far apart. It was very difficult to make him sit down with the rig I made. It was very difficult. But hopefully you don't notice that in the music video. But yeah, see the laces there and the trims, I had to combine a bunch of them and make it by hand. But yeah, once I made John, he was pretty easy because he also has the same scarf and the same metals, so it's pretty easy to make. Let me play the metals. Okay, there you go. Physics enabled. Very easy to make. There's a picture and I'm all over it. It has patches there. His patch in his hat was ripped directly from John, so I guess probably pasted it. Super easy to make. And I got his sergeant rank there. You see his shoes. He's got the blue spats, and his shoes are the same thing as George's when they're opposite color. Well, the reverse, instead of Paul's yellow shoe with the red highlights, I guess, it's red shoes with the yellow highlights. Easy texture switch. Saved me some time there. And then, and you see the drums there. Shout out to Gary Astridge. Has a website on all the drum kits that Ringo used and what he used in the gear and studio and all that stuff. This drum set was based off his Shea Stadium and Ed Sullivan show. He had all the details I needed. He gave me he had the model name and the year of all the pieces and stuff there. The texture of Ringo. I'll see the little big emblem. I just got a picture and just pasted on it. But for the Rock Band game, he has the oyster, the Pro Oyster texture, but in red. I wanted to do that, but instead I just put like a red and gold glitter texture on with silver highlights instead of gold because I wanted to be a little bit different, and I think it looked pretty nice. In my memory, I remembered it having a glitter texture rather than the oyster texture, but creative freedom there. But thanks to Gary Astrid and his website, I was able to find all the models, the name and the years of all the people. This is just a picture of a symbol I just put on there. But I was able to find the names of all the parts of the drum set and all the measurements. I was able to make it as accurate as possible. There, I just painted some dirt there. The drum skins, I guess, a drum picture I had that I just pasted on top. But yeah, thanks to his website, I found out what that was called. I don't remember what it's called, but I was able to find the parts for it online and found a bunch of reference images and just modeled it off of those images. And they just gave me a lot of info. And I found a YouTube video on making drums on 3D. I even got down to the kick drums and to the little pedal, which looks better modeled, I know, but you barely get to see that anywhere in the video. I didn't put too much detail or effort onto that. Saved me some time. But I was able to find some YouTube videos on how to make a drum set in 3D in VR. And I was able to follow along with that, with the measurements that I had to remake this drum set. And I found all the parts I needed, all the bits, what was called what Ringo had during those years, what his drum set had when he was performing live. I was able to just remake it all from scratch, from the ground up, thanks to those two resources. even got those little pieces there, which I forgot to recall, but I holds the drum in place. The logo there was just a logo of the Sgt. Pepper's album that I guess pasted there. But it was so much fun to make a drum set. I had a lot of fun making it. I also was able to rig the pedals a little bit. See the hi hat, I made it move a little bit. Wait, oh shit, right, 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 right. It even makes the pedal move. Right, 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 right. Anyway, and I think I also did the kick drum. I'm pretty sure I did. Let's see. Hold on. There you go. Yeah, I already shot a little bit, but nobody, you're not gonna see this anyway, so I just did it by hand. But I had a lot of fun making the texture, the procedural texture, and modeling everything with the measurements. It was a lot of fun. All the guitars and instruments, I had blueprints that I referenced. The topology is pretty basic. You don't really get to see these parts so much. So I put more emphasis on retopologizing the drum face there. And see, Ringo having to sit down was such a difficult thing with the skirt. In the music video, I managed to make it a little bit better, but you can see how bad it looks. If I put the skirt too close to his legs will pop out through the skirt when he hits the drum kick or the hi-hat. So I kind of have to find a middle ground. But luckily I was able to find it. But making this was so much fun. I had blueprints and references for all 4 instruments, and the measurements, and being able to make them from scratch through those measurements was super fun and super easy. I had a blast doing this. I had a gale time making all of this stuff. It was difficult the first time, but once I got the hang of it, it was super easy. It was a lot of fun making this. I really liked how it came out. I wish I could do the cymbals a little bit better. I wish I could do the drum heads a little bit better, but with the time and the knowledge that I had when I was making this, I think it turned out pretty okay. I'm doing even the costumes with all the names of the medals and the chords and the patches and all of that, having what they were named and then finding out what they were called, and then finding references, images was so much easier and so much fun scouring through the internet for all those things. From the ground up, making all this was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun making this by hand. There was a bunch of hurdles I had to jump through, but I learned so much. And it was so much fun making that. I honestly wouldn't do it again with all this detail, but now that I have an idea of how to make it and what to do, I'd gladly do it again. A lot more optimized and a lot more tailored and a little bit smarter. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit smarter now that I know how to make it. But yeah, that's it.
It verges from the sublime to the ridiculous.
Sang out a tune, would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing